Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief Technology Officer, DJJ Technologies, Richard Darris.
Good morning. It brings great pleasure to be here for the second year in a row at Avaya Evolutions. Just a brief introduction of DJJ Technologies. We have been in business for 21 years, as well as being an Avaya business partner. Kudos to Avaya for all of the technology they have brought to the table over the years. What's happening over evolution of the Avaya platform, as well as with DJJ. Being in business 21 years, we have multiple locations, headquarters out of Long Island, New York. We have our New York City office here, as well as Florida and Arizona, and as we support our customers across the entire United States. From a pre-sales design, creativity and technology, from post-sales, support, proactive monitoring, and everything in between, DJJ will provide. With the evolution, we have now Avaya with the data infrastructure being from the core down to the edge, from the small to mid to enterprise market. They are the best in the business with Avaya, and they have proven that every year. Along with the voice, the IP office, the Aura communication manager, DJJ will support you throughout that entire process. Now with evolution, what do we have this year? We have a lot going on with the internet. Unified communication down to the .com level, bringing WebRTC, HTML5. We can now take all of that technology, full communications, down to the .com level, right to your customers' websites. With that said, bringing video down to the RadVision acquisition and bringing that not from a room type of system, but now we're bringing that directly to everybody in this audience. So I really encourage you to come back to our booth today to see, so we can show you how we've done that with unified communications. For those of you who do know me, today is probably my favorite day of the year. And I hate to do this to you, but no joke. At this point, if you take Avaya and DJJ together, you can have your cake and eat it too. So I encourage everybody to come back and get their free cupcake from TLC's Cake Boss. We have Mauro, one of the cast members, in our booth today, and we are giving out cupcakes. But without any further ado, I thank everybody for being here, but I want to introduce Alex Van Sanford and Jackie D'Ambrosi. Alex is from the town of Oyster Bay. He is the acting communications manager for the town of Oyster Bay. I want to welcome Alex and Jackie. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Can you guys hear us okay? Awesome. Great. Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us today for this year's segment of Evolutions. We really appreciate you coming out to talk a little bit about yourself and the town and the Avaya solution that you have in place that's been kind of supporting you and the township of Oyster Bay for many years now.
Yes, it has. My name is Alex Van Sanford, Acting Superintendent of Communications, Town of Oyster Bay. Good afternoon, everybody.
So, Alex, you know, I am certainly familiar with your enterprise.
Okay.
I've had a relationship with you now for close to 4 years, in the town itself for about 7. But if you would, just share a little bit about the business of the town of Oyster Bay and your position and the team that you oversee for supporting the Avaya solution and your community.
Well, currently we support approximately 2,500 endpoints within the municipality of the town of Oyster Bay. Our confines are from the North Shore to the South Shore of Long Island, as everyone on Long Island I'm sure knows. We take approximately 4,000 phone calls a day between all of our sites, and my team of 4 people manage the entire town's telecommunications infrastructure.
So anyone from Township of Oyster Bay out there today? Raise your hand. Yeah, give us a clap. Awesome. It is a very large township, and when DJJ came to be with the town, we noticed that you had 3 main sites that were of great importance in addition to these remote locations.
Right.
that really sometimes it was just a security guard that was in a beach or a very outlying area.
Right.
So I think what was so important about bringing the right technology to the town was understanding the infrastructure that you were putting in place to support the communications. So can you touch on that a little bit so everyone can kind of get a sense of where your technology was originally in the town and then how you kind of developed it and it came to be ultimately this Avaya solution?
Well, initially, before we migrated to the current Avaya platform that we're on, we had approximately 1,500 copper phone lines throughout the different facilities in the town. Our three main sites, a town hall on the North Shore, a town hall building on the South Shore, and a centrally located public works facility. In addition to those three, we had approximately 31 other smaller locations, parks, beaches, parklets, and multiple phone lines at each one of those facilities. We were using a very old technology, BRI-based ISDN technology that we had significantly outgrown at the time. So.
Anyone remember that technology and endure, as Alex has? Well, yeah, when we look at the type of technology that you've put in place compared to what we deemed analog and kind of legacy from years ago, I just really need everyone to understand the breadth of what you did put in place once we started to deploy this Avaya architecture. And you don't have to get so crazy and granular unless you want to, but just an overview of the architecture now that you have in place.
Well, like I had mentioned previously, we have three prime sites that all are overlaid. The Avaya solution's been overlaid onto a dark fiber solution that we have in place, a dark fiber ring that links all of our facilities, our three main sites through a ring topology and all the other sites through a spoke topology. We have disaster recovery in every shape of the system. We have each site could be severed from the other and it will remain self-sufficient. If our fiber ring breaks, our system self-heals and our communications goes on undisrupted.
That's awesome. That's great. And then just recently, we've kind of enhanced your software release, and we've fully SIP-enabled the architecture, right. That session initiation protocol that is kind of the latest in the application layer of IP. Tell us a little bit about how that started to impact what has already been a very, very robust and resilient environment.
Well, we've decided to go with the SIP protocol for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it gives us total number portability, where some of our sites now, our prime sites, are fed with PRI circuits bringing in our phone numbers, or AKA DIDs. The SIP technology allows us to route those inbound phone numbers virtually. It could come in anywhere. Any of our facilities go down, we could have the number come in elsewhere. And for a municipality and the expectations that we have to our constituents and residents, we have to ensure that we have uninterrupted functionality for our critical lines within the township.
And that certainly would create, I would imagine, for you and your team, of course, and as we see in local government and so many of our organizations that we work with, easy and effective administration and management. However, everyone kind of going with that theory of doing more with less.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example of doing more with less. Obviously, everyone knows in the government, you can't spend as much as we want to and do what we want. Due to recent incentives on retirement and such, our staff of 8 has been scaled down to a staff of 4. And with a staff of 4, we maintain and manage the entire communications infrastructure for the town easily. We do it from laptops. There's no more going to cross-connect closets on multiple floors to move one ISDN set. So we are absolutely doing more with less today, and it's working out perfectly for us.
That's fantastic. And of course, anytime you talk about ease and flexibility, sometimes there may be a sacrifice in security or how you can make sure those that are on the network are supposed to be on the network, they're functioning properly, and they're truly authenticated. Has that been a challenge?
Not at all. With the infrastructure that we've deployed or overlaid onto our existing network, we've been able to lock down phones that are in unsecured areas, hallway phones, phones in conference rooms that aren't monitored, and we're able to ensure that there's no abuse of international or other other kinds of toll fraud, and ultimately that's a cost savings to the residents.
That's fantastic. And certainly in this day and age, everyone is going through these bring your own device. It's a term and an acronym out there that is just getting more and more prevalent, but sometimes with that comes those challenges of security. So it's nice to know that you're fully secured.
Seamlessly.
Excellent, excellent. We also talk a lot about this architecture now because you've gone out of that kind of analog phase into the IP and SIP, the call routing and the portability. And I know you touched on that from potentially the carrier level. I think your end users are recognizing that quite readily as well too, from the executive level and the high level departments that you need to support when there could be potentially outages or disruption to business.
Well, in regards to a business continuity model, a perfect example would be Superstorm Sandy. During the superstorm, as it was hitting, before it hit, we didn't know how badly we were obviously going to get hit on Long Island. Town Hall in Oyster Bay had become virtually unreachable for the residents in the area, for most of the employees, and it was deemed unsafe by the town supervisor for employees to show up there. So key personnel were relocated to the centrally located Public Works facility, and we rerouted over 100 critical key numbers over our existing infrastructure to the Public Works facility, to temporary phone banks that were set up for all the key divisions within Town Hall. We did not miss one phone call from a resident. We were able to scale our build out on what we needed to achieve. We didn't have to buy any other equipment, and we did it virtually within 2 hours of time.
Wow, that's fantastic. And you know, I put up this slide because we talk about a lot managing business continuity, but disaster recovery is something that DJJ Technology takes a lot of pride in what we do out there for solutions-based integrator to avoid the disaster, not have to recover from the disaster. So it's nice to hear that what we've put in place and we've worked with you and your team to design and implement is actually coming to fruition.
Not only that, but I got to say that during Sandy, before it hit, while it was hitting, and afterwards, when a good portion of the South Shore in town of Oyster Bay had lost phone service, residents that is, our system never went offline. Our system never had any sort of a failure. We had infrastructure on our own end. Some of our fiber had been damaged in a couple spots. We got a generator at one of our buildings that brought the power back online. Everything self-healed, but we never experienced one outage on the Avaya platform. It functioned the way it was intended.
That's awesome. That's great. You and your team must not sleep a lot, because to have only 3 people that are supporting that type of infrastructure, boy, hats off to you. That's tremendous.
We went from, when we were using carrier services, we had auto attendants and voicemail routing through our carrier, and we had to go into a DOS prompt system to make changes to it that would take usually a day to actually hit. Today, we can build auto attendants from a laptop, regardless of where we are. I've personally done it from a restaurant in Berlin. So the system works, and it works the way we need it to.
Well, I hope that, awesome, awesome. I hope it didn't disrupt your dessert course. Speaking of dessert, don't forget to stop by, please, DJJ's booth after lunch and have some dessert with us. Carlos Bakery has some cupcakes. Hey, there's one in the crowd. Excellent. If you haven't received yours, please do stop by. We'd love to be able to share some dessert with you today. Well, Alex, you know, having this infrastructure in place has already done a lot for you and the town and the community you serve, but we always look to the future when we look to say, what's next? What can we do next? And what can we look at in way of applications to continue to help you support the community, but also support you and your team? So what's on the horizon for Township of Oyster Bay?
Well, we're in the process of a couple things. We've determined that based on call volume after regular day-to-day storms and things like that, that we need more of a call center functionality for the level of calls that we receive, especially after things like Sandy. We had the ability to scale for it, but we really didn't know how many calls were going to come in for weeks and weeks continuously after the storm. So call center is one thing that we're going to be heavily going towards. The whole bring your own device, that's the way of the future now. And rather than us providing a cell phone to every associate who needs it, everyone already has one to begin with. We could leverage that into the equation and save everybody a lot of money and get the same functionality out of it.
That's great. And I know you and I have personally talked about even a little bit of approach now with video and collaboration.
We've started with video, now that we have the SIP functionality operational. We've started with some internal video between executive levels, and it's proving to be a perfect fit.
I guess depending on the day and the time of day, some of us want to be seen on video and some of us choose not to be. Well, you know, Alex, if there's anything else that you want to share with the crowd, I know you're going to be at our booth this afternoon after lunch, so if anyone in the crowd wants to come out and talk with Alex about the solution that he has implemented and any questions you may have regarding that, and certainly for any of us and our staff at DJJ, we're happy to chat with each and every one of you. So please do stop by and see us. And
I'll be there. Come on down. Ask anything you like.
excellent. Well, thank you so much, Alex. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you all.